What happens when your teammate has a technical disaster right at the start of a competitive Zwift race? Well, today I'm going to show you why the Zwift community really is something special. So we're lined up for a competitive ladder race. There's a video coming soon all about ladder races and what they are and how you get into them. So if you're interested, then hit that subscribe button. As always, with any team racing, points are on the line, kudos is up for grabs. They're competitive races. Everyone's dialed in and we're all ready to battle it out. But right at the start, not one, but two of our teammates get hit with a technical fault. They're actually husband and wife racing next to each other in 36 degrees heat in Spain, and they have a technical issue between their laptop and their tablet. One of them doesn't manage to join the race at all, the other one does, but then is stuck at the start line, completely dead in the water. Now this is competitive racing, points matter. In most situations, this would be game over. But watch what happens next, and this is why I absolutely love the Zwift community. The other team, Coalition, have seen what's happened, and they start to message in the group chat about holding off and letting them catch up. These are our rivals, our competitors. They want the points just as much as we do. It's a competitive ladder race. League standings are all up for grabs, but they immediately make the call, ease up and wait for Pedro to catch us up in the race. And this right here is why I love the Zwift community. I've been racing on this platform now for coming up for a year, and I see this spirit constantly. Sure, we're all competitive. Sure, we all want to win. But I think we all understand that it's only fun if it's fair. The Coalition team could have taken the easy points. Instead, they chose to make sure we had a proper race. That's not just good sportsmanship. That's what cycling culture really looks like. And of course, what happened when he caught up? All bets are off. The race was back on, and it was everybody in it to win it. No mercy, no holding back. They'd given us our fair shot. Now it was a proper race. And honestly, I think it made the racing more intense. Everyone knew that this was going to be decided on effort, tactics, team strategy, and not decided by some unlucky technical fault. So let me take you through the rest of the race and we'll see exactly what the result was at the end. As you can see, Pedro's catching up, and I'll speed up through the rest of the race so that we can see what happens. This was held on the 2019 World's Harrogate circuit. So 492 metres of climbing, which I must admit scared me a bit before we started. Not really call myself much of a climber, but there we go, the mountains were in front of us. And if you're unfamiliar with ladder racing, essentially it's usually a 5 versus 5, sometimes 4 versus 4 team event. We're all on Discord talking to each other, discussing tactics, watching out for breakaways and making sure that we work together as a team. So you can see we're on the first lap round here. We've done the first of the big hills, and actually we're all quite nicely grouped together at the moment. There's a couple of little pushes from time to time, and as you'd expect when we get to this next climb, there's quite a push up this, and you can see people pulling 5, 6, 7, 8 watts. And honestly, I'm just trying to keep somewhere within the pack. We unfortunately are down to 4 riders for this race because Elena unfortunately didn't manage to get in. Apparently she was 3 seconds too late when she tried to log into the race. So the odds are stacked against us in terms of this because it's a points race. You get more points for finishing first, second, third than you do 4th, 5th, 6th, as you'd expect. And then the points are added up to give you your team score. So we're coming up for the end of the first lap, and actually everybody's all still together. So we're going into the second lap in a few seconds after a short little climb up to the start finish line. And you can see that it gets spread out a little bit on that final push. And that was a bit of a warning, I was thinking, for the second lap, that when we get to the finish, I really needed to be on it in order to get up. You can see that the pace has got a little bit too heavy for Grind Rod from Coalition. I think actually he might have had a bit of a Wi-Fi dropout, so he all of a sudden he seemed a bit of a distance behind us, and messaged to say that he wasn't going to be able to pull that back. And as we keep on going through, you can see that we've done the first climb, and now we're coming up on a nice flat bit, a little bit of an opportunity for a rest, and then a downhill. And of course you have to be careful with downhills that you push over the top and you make sure you stay with the pack. Unfortunately, one of our team members, Jackie, has dropped back a little bit, so now he's really got a race on with Grindrod from Coalition, because every point counts, so you keep on pushing to try and get points for the team. Certainly better to finish in 8th than 9th, and we hit this hill, and this was the bit that I was particularly worried about. But I was out of my saddle, decided that I was going to push it, and managed to stay pretty much with the group as we went over the top and into the downhill, and actually ended up in first position, which was as much of a surprise to me as to anybody. A nice gentle climb up here, and then we come into the final stages, just 3 kilometers to go, and still everything to play for. There's another member of the Coalition team that's just dropped back a bit, so now there's just the 6 of us pushing towards the finish. And what I'll do is I'll slow it down and we'll watch the final half a kilometre. I remembered from the first time round on the first lap that this was a little climb as we come in towards the finish, so I was out of my saddle, and by the looks of it so was everybody else. A lot of orange going on as everybody starts to sprint up this 10% climb, which levels off in a moment as we get towards the finish. So I'm already pulling over 700 watts. In fact, this ended up being my best power output over 50 seconds according to intervals, and at this point I'm thinking, oh, here I am, I'm going to finish last of this group. But then I started to manage to pull back some places as we came into the last 250 meters or so. And all that was going through my mind at the moment is to try and get as many points as possible for the team. And I was really pleased actually with my final sprint. I managed to pull my way all the back up to almost second, but I was just pipped on the line. But third, I'd have been super happy with that before we started. With the race over, let's finish off with my final thoughts about the Zwift community. This is exactly why I love creating content about Zwift racing. Yes, we're all indoors on trainers. Yes, we're all staring at a screen. But behind every avatar is a real cyclist who gets it, who understands that great racing comes from mutual respect. To Coalition, if you're watching, this is what true champions look like. Not winning or losing, but that sportsmanship and supporting the Zwift community, for me, is what it's all about. I'd love to hear your comments about anything to do with the Zwift community, and if you've seen similar kind of things happen in races that you've been in. What moments have you seen that remind you why you love this platform and you love Zwift racing? If you appreciate this side of Zwift racing as much as I do, please hit the like button, and if you want more content on Zwift racing going forwards, then please subscribe. There's plenty more to come. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Ride on!